What is going on, everybody? Welcome here to the Purple and Gold podcast. Today, the Minnesota Vikings improved to 12-2 on the season, and the 1 seed and the NFC North is completely in our hands from this day going forward. So that is huge because, we know how that goes. That changes everything, right? The difference between the 1 seed and the 5 seed. But nonetheless, the Vikings also did clinch a playoff spot this weekend following the win by the Green Bay Packers over the Seattle Seahawks. But let's pivot our focus here to this game tonight against the Chicago Bears. Another convincing win here, the score being 30-12. And I point that out because as Vikings fans, right, we've been looking for us to just keep our foot on the gas and go out and kill teams. And today, we killed the Chicago Bears. The one touchdown that was given up by the team today was by the second stringers, right? I think the only starter out there from the looks of it was Cam Bynum. Everyone else out there, is playing on that second team. So, awesome win again today by the Vikings. And, I don't want to be overly critical, okay? But I think we all understand the reality of this. And there's a reason why people are not buying in to the Vikings as legit contenders for the Super Bowl. And it's because of how sluggish the first half was for our team, right? The team in the first half did not look like the same team in the second half. And I guess that's a good thing because at the end of the day, you want to be able to finish a game, or you want to be able to have that comeback drive if need be. But again, it's one of those things where, and we hear this over and over again from the team, whether it's the coaches or the players, where they're looking to play a full 4-quarter game. And they always say that our best football, we're still trying to find it, or it's still ahead of us. And I feel like, we're at a point in the season now where you have to find that, and we still haven't done it. So I think that's the one concerning thing for me. But look, we're winning, and we're finding ways to do it every week. And that's the best part, because at the end of the day, right, if you're winning games and you're forcing turnovers and you're punching in the end zone like the way that we're doing, that is a recipe for success. But when I'm referring to these things, these are like the nitty-gritty things that need to get correct, because there was a lot that Chicago left on the table again today that a good team, a playoff team, is definitely going to capitalize on, or they're not going to be making the same mistakes. Like, their offensive lineman turned fullback, not reporting ineligible. Like, those things good teams are not going to do, right? They're not going to kick themselves in the ass and take points off the board. So, again, it's stuff like that. But let's highlight some of the good things. I think Sam Darnold, again, had a really great day. If you're looking at it from the perspective of the stat sheet, you're going to say, average game. But I think he did a lot of good things today. He had that little tape on his pinky, which apparently has been bothering him for the last few weeks. And he had a couple of misfires throughout the game, but nothing detrimental, obviously. And had some really crispy throws throughout the course of the game. And that one interception, just trying to give his guy a chance on 4th down. And I don't blame him for it, it was a low risk, high reward type play in my opinion. So I'm glad he at least gave our guy a chance instead of throwing it away or taking a sack like some other guys would. But overall, I think Sam Darnold did everything he needed to do today. Whether it was, making good audibles at the line of scrimmage, taking care of the football again, and just getting footballs into tight windows. He did it all today. Aaron Jones also had another productive day. The run game in general, including Cam Akers, just did a great job today, finding the open gaps. Very, very smooth cuts today as well, to find some extra yardage as well. So that was super impressive. And our wide receivers, again, showing up as usual. Nothing new. We expect it from them every single week, and they went out and performed. Now, on the defensive side, Josh Metellus. Josh Metellus is the guy that I wanted to highlight. He was all over the field today, and in the absence of Ivan Pace having to play more linebacker, right, for a guy who really is a safety and is undersized for that position, he just does a great job of filling in, and I think that's where that versatility comes into play, and that's where it becomes so useful because, in the absence of a guy like Ivan Pace, who is a tremendous run stopper, Metellus did a great job today, and he does every single week, but today it was just more noticeable because he was literally getting on the stat sheet with some of those impactful tackles throughout the game. And I would also like to highlight our DBs, right? This is a great wide receiver group, and our DBs honestly made some of the best plays today by getting coverage sacks, because in all honesty, our defensive line was not getting home. Just like the same thing, like the first matchup against Chicago, which we're gonna get to in a second. But that secondary, without a Stephon Gilmore in the lineup today, I think did a great job. So the fact that we didn't hear Fabian Moreau's name called really at all throughout the course of the game, I think is a testament to how well they played. Unfortunately for a guy like Fabian Moreau, who, he's not going to get a ton of spotlight, but we recognize that they did a great job today. So, look, this is something that I've emphasized on the channel from the first video that I have on this channel, and it's the trenches. Like, we just need to be better in the trenches, okay? Starting off with our offensive line, and thank God that Brian O'Neill is okay. Oh my God. When they said it was a knee injury and they showed the replay, that very well could have been a Christian Darrisaw type season-ending injury, and it wasn't. So, oh my goodness. Anyway, Cam Robinson, worst player on the Vikings team today. Like, penalty after penalty after penalty. And, Cam Akers got absolutely blown up in the run game after he was getting praise from Troy Aikman. And I understand he isn't our first choice at tackle, and he is kind of a guy who's filling in for an all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber type left tackle. But, man, I mean, if you want to be a good playoff team, and I firmly believe this, and this goes for everyone on the offensive line, we've got to play better. The communicating needs to be better. I think that was a huge point of emphasis for Kwesi with this offensive line. He emphasized continuity, and you would think with that continuity would come good communication and just better overall play. And a game like this where their defensive line was really depleted, this was embarrassing. This was an embarrassing showing. So that's something that we want to see get fixed. And then our defensive line. I mean, this is an offensive line that has allowed more sacks than anybody else this year, and Caleb Williams is the most sacked quarterback this season and in Chicago Bears history for a single season. So I just think, like, Jonathan Grenard, Dallas Turner, but there were so many more opportunities. I understand, we're not going to underestimate the talent of Caleb Williams, right? Phenomenal talent. I mean, the way that he's able to evade pressure is nothing new. He was doing this in college. He continues to do this at the NFL level, but there were just times where he was just standing in the pocket, and I was like, where is our edge rushers? Whether it's Grenard, whether it's Van Ginkel, we've got to get home and we've got to finish to get sacks, because pressures are awesome, but sacks, I mean, these are game-changing plays, right? And I don't know, he just had way too much time today, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's that trench work, right? The offensive and the defensive line needs to just play with a little bit more of a chip under their shoulder, with just more aggressiveness, with just more like, we're going to hit you in the chin, we're coming at you. We need more of that, and I think that's what's going to make us a Super Bowl contender, compared to just a playoff contender. And it's not even a playoff contender because we've already clinched. So we're trying to figure out, hey, what are these small details that we need to execute in order to become that Super Bowl caliber team? Because in all honesty, the way that the quarterback is playing this year, I think we have a quarterback that could lead us there. But again, it takes a 22-man effort and beyond, obviously. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. The offense needs to be spot on. The defense needs to be spot on. And I'm kind of just tired of hearing this, hey, we still, have a lot in front of us, and, there's ways that we can improve. Like, no, this is it. I mean, the performance that we saw last week, we said, hey, can they build off of this performance and do it again? Granted, the margin of victory was something similar, but the way that we got there, right, is what makes people doubt that they can actually do it. And I totally understand it. As a Minnesota Vikings fan, I'm keeping my expectations a little bit lower than maybe some other people are, because I understand how this goes. I've been through this roller coaster one too many times, and it's not to say that I'm expecting the worst, but just understand the realities of it. And, if this offensive line was playing at a much higher level and at a consistent level, and if our defensive line and our edge rushers were getting home more consistently with sacks, I think then we're in the conversation. But until those penalties get cleaned up, until the offensive line starts communicating better, and again, until the defensive line starts finishing plays, I have a hard time believing that this team can compete with the best when those other teams are at their best. And that's exactly what you're going to get in the playoffs. So, I don't mean to sound so pessimistic in this video, but I just want everyone to understand the reality, and at least that's what I think it is. Okay, this isn't some sort of reverse psychology trick so that the offensive and defensive line starts playing better. I don't really believe in all that, because regardless of what I say, the team's going to go out and perform and do whatever they need to do, regardless if these words come out of my mouth or not. Okay, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. But again, that's not to say, and it looks like I'm disappointed, but I'm just saying, like, we are this close. And I think that's what hurts me the most. We are this close to being a team that can literally win it all. Okay? And it's crazy that those words are coming out of my mouth, but it's the truth. And I think that's what makes this thing just so nerve-wracking in a sense. And it makes you feel uneasy, because we know that this team can play at the level that I speak of. And until they can stack weeks and start doing it, and I keep my fingers crossed, oh my God, as I hit the table, that time comes in the playoffs, because that's when it really matters, right? If the team catches fire in the playoffs, those are the teams that typically go on to win the whole thing, right? You can start off the year 10-0, you can start off the year whatever, however many wins in a row, but this is when it matters. This is when it matters. Can the team just mesh? Can everyone be playing their best football late in the season when everyone else is fatigued, tired, worn out? Some teams are really injured. Can we stay healthy? Can we play our best ball? And can we just play 10% better than everyone else? That's what it comes down to. And in a game where even though things weren't 100%, we had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. We still won by 3 scores. So that's all I'm saying. Like, if we just perfect those imperfections right now, why not us? Why not us? But we have to see it. We have to see it again. So until then, and until we can stack weeks upon weeks upon weeks with nearly flawless games, beating down on bad competition, and finding ways to win against playoff caliber teams, we'll have that conversation again. But nonetheless, the Minnesota Vikings are 12-2. We are in the race for the number 1 seed in the NFC and for the NFC North Division Championship. Let's go Vikings. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And until then, we'll see you guys all later. Peace.